The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the 12th day of March, 2024. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamal Hartman. He's Larry Marshall Jr., and Maya Palacio may be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break. Happy Tuesday, good brother. How goes it?
It's good. Still trying to adjust with it being so dark in the morning, but everything's good. Good to be here.
It was another rough one for me today.
Yeah.
Another rough one. I don't remember it being this tough with the time change for me, but it's been rough. I literally at 5:30 was still sleeping.
Yeah.
That's not like me.
Yeah, I'm consistently struggled over the years with it, especially this one. But I also, unlike other people, I struggle when it goes back also.
Yeah. I think it's just our bodies adjusting to this new time. It's been, honestly, folks, has it been tough for you, this time change? And it's crazy because it's not like it's something new, right? It's something that has happened all our lives.
Yeah.
Maybe Bermuda will adopt like some of our Caribbean cousins to the south and not change the time, not mess with it. Maybe, that time is coming.
I thought that Big Brother, your parent country right now, the U.S. decided that at some point that they're gonna just stay in this current zone.
Different states. I think Florida's one of them who voted for it a few years ago in a referendum. But different states have made that decision. They just haven't moved forward.
Okay. I think when that happens, we will. Oh yes, the U.S. did it, so now we'll do it instead of us making our stance. It's just not good. Anywho, my personal opinion.
Usually the case, though. The U.S. does it, and we just follow along. But maybe we need to be brave, like our cousins to the south.
I agree. I agree. Leave the time alone.
In the Senate now to change at the federal level. Yeah. Well, I ain't trying to say Florida's, a leader in anything, because there are some, I think it's a place in Indiana or Arizona. The time doesn't change. Correct me if I'm wrong, audience. Somewhere it's either Arizona, Indiana, or both, but they don't move with the Joneses. All right. Suzanne Ingham says, awesome Tuesday, Jamal, Larry, man, nice to see you again. Larry, good morning, says Farah Palacio, and she says, I've been pretty good, but I took a 3-hour nap Sunday. I balanced it out. See, she had that time to get herself right, Larry.
Yeah.
Suzanne Ingham says, just leave the time alone. Adeline Swan says, it's neither here nor there, feels the same. I don't know, man. Honestly, that's maybe how I felt all these years, but these last 3 mornings have been rough. Like, folks, rough. Like, I did not want to get out of bed. That's not like me.
Yeah.
It's Indiana. Thank you, Angeline and Sherry. It is Indiana. Yeah, I knew somewhere they didn't change it. You know how those folks are. They just want to be different. I don't know people like that.
I think different makes sense in this.
Hey, sometimes being different does make sense. And Angeline Butler says, yes, leave the time alone. All right, so let's jump into, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Evan Faulkenberry from the BAC Group of Companies. We're going to be discussing what's one of the number one things people complain about with the cost of living in Bermuda. If it's not groceries, it's their utilities bill. So Evan's going to be stopping by with some solutions, ways that we can reduce our energy bill, some lighting, maybe some, you're using too much hot water, stuff like that. So looking forward to this conversation. Always a great conversation when we do ask the expert with the BAC group. The daily players will remember when. I think I have one. I thought I had one. Seriously, I thought I had one. We'll have to check on that, folks. But I thought we had a
ploy to jam me up, or
oh, I see it. No, I thought we had it. I thought we had it. Yeah, daily players or remember when. So let's see if the audience got this right. Zane, yesterday, I think Zane, someone was the winner. All right. Do not
know if I didn't get that.
On our website, follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, let's go to the conversation. So I don't know if you all saw the news yesterday, but there were quite a few opinions on the internet or on social media. So proposed new Hamilton Road design up for public discussion. Now, I don't know if you saw it, but I actually think it's a great thing. Did you see it, Larry?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not.
So I actually like it. I think that this makes so much sense. We're going to go to our friends at the Royal Gazette, right? So this, to me, this is coming out of off Queen Street, right? Up Church Street. So having this island in the road instead of the traffic lights just right there and people coming from that road where Argus is turning left and whatnot. This to me makes sense because people have always tried to get right across to go up through City Hall. It's just, this is an awesome thing to me if they make it work. It makes sense. Well, out of this, it had me thinking of what happened, what we were talking about last week, right? And we were talking about last week our road conditions. Remember the road conditions. And someone had said, maybe that's the amount of traffic. Like, were our roads built for the amount of traffic that we have? Everyone's discussing the amount of rain we've had, but were the roads built, do we have the infrastructure for that? So I guess one of the solutions was, well, if we had a reliable public transportation system, we probably wouldn't have the traffic issue that we have. And I gave you this example that many years ago, Teo and I, we were on the radio having this conversation with someone about whether or not a car is a need. And Teo, despite breaking it down, this person could not be convinced otherwise. So the question of the morning is, what would you do to reduce traffic and improve Bermuda's roads? I think the Corporation of Hamilton, with that rendition, is onto something to improving Bermuda's roads, at least in the city of Hamilton. But what would you do to reduce traffic and improve Bermuda's roads? And trust me, I think I'm about to piss some of you off with my suggestions.
Well, we gotta save you to the end.
Huh?
We better save you to the end then.
I mean, potato. I just know how people are. Bermudians, we have a tendency not to love, we don't like our norms to be interrupted, even if it means better for us, right? Like, for instance, one of my suggestions to improve roads in Bermuda, and this has been said by others over the years, so it's not some big Jamel Hartman, idea. I would make Harbor Road one way during rush hour. I would suggest making Harbor Road one way during rush hour. Now, I know people will say, well, what about residents that yeah, it's one way. They come out, go that up way, and if they want to go the other way, they go over to Middle Road. But I believe a way to improve traffic conditions in Bermuda would be to make Harbor Road one way.
I just agree with that, but okay. And have you came from the west during rush hour in the morning?
Yep. Every time I'm in Bermuda right now.
So if you don't know, right, on Harbor Road, if you have no opposing traffic, bikes are going to be on that other side of the road the whole way wide open.
Well, the hope would be that won't be the case and that it will be monitored to the point that that won't happen.
But it's not monitored, no. Road traffic in the morning is not monitored, no. So we're talking about from are wide open from Burntos, the backside of Burntos, all the way to
But I
what,
think
Aberfeldy.
I think we're immediately thinking negatively and not about the positives. We're thinking about a con that involves irresponsible people and behavior. I don't think that opening up a road to improve flow into the city of Hamilton is necessarily just going to be people riding ridiculously. I think that if anything, it should open up opportunities for people to get where they're going sooner, where they don't have to ride ridiculously.
But we have to recognize the current trends of the irresponsible road behavior that we have right now, right?
I mean, so you think that if there's no traffic on the road, people automatically are going to be wide open?
I think a good portion of bike riders will use that lane that's closed and will overtake at a level that is not normal. It happens with two-way traffic now coming from the US.
Hmm. What are your thoughts, folks? I hear Larry. I just don't think, and I think this goes back to yesterday's conversation with education. We can eliminate most problems. We're not going to save everyone, but I would tend to think that if we were to do something like that, which happens in the U.S., we have HOV lanes, right?
Yes.
And we have people in HOV lanes that it's supposed to be for multiple people. Well, they get dummies and mannequins and put them in their cars. So there's always going to be, people who try to exploit the law. Right now it's not monitored, but right now it's not one way either, right? There's folks from TCD that like to be out and check people's cars. I think that they may have another way of utilizing them. But I do think that would be one solution in terms of improving traffic on Bermuda's roads. I would say make Harbor Road one way during rush hour. That's my first solution.
Okay. That's a certain point, but okay.
Yeah. Suzanne Ingham says yes to Harbor Road. Sean Smith says take another look at reintroducing trains. That was going to be something. Let's hold on to that one. Reintroducing trains. Farrah Palacio says I'm with Larry. Restructures the roads is lovely, but we need to be a lot more strict with the people. I don't think with education we need much rule or law unless we just have an unjust population. But
for clarity, I'm not actually in favor with being more strict. I actually think one of my recommendations is we have to be proactive and not just punitive. Like, talking about the education and classes and ways to reduce insurance rates for good behavior rather than
one on the screen since it's up. Misha Fabler says making the lane filtering bikes, bikes passing cars stopped in traffic will improve the flow of traffic somewhat.
Okay. Making the lane.
Tell me more. I don't think I'm quite understanding that. Renee Simmons says, I think Larry is right. If Harbor Road was one way, that will attract more bike riders. You can say for cars only. That's a solution. That's how HOV lanes work. It's two people or more. So just saying no bikes on Harbor Road going the direction most vehicles are going. It's not hard.
Okay.
Charles H. Jeffs II says, I would make Harbor Road one way, but the HOV and bikes only. We need to reduce the number of cars on the road, and this might encourage that. Yeah, I would definitely say Harbor Road one way. I'd probably disagree with Charles. I would probably go with no bikes. I would say cars only.
Yeah, I'll be interested to know how many residents will be impacted by that, as far as they come out and they have to make the change and go up. That would be one that I would be like, if you're a resident, then you have to kind of get with it. But if it's 25 residents versus 300 residents that's impacted by it, yeah.
Indeed. Interesting conversation, folks. What are your thoughts? Let us, well, real quickly, because I want to go back to the train comment as well. But has anyone, have you used public transportation in Bermuda in the last year? Has anyone used public transportation in Bermuda in the last year? Have you used public transportation in the last year, Larry?
I think I may have been on the ferry once.
Okay. Anyone in the audience use public transportation in the last year? Anybody? Yes or no? Just a simple yes or no. Have you used public transportation? Traveling Trotty says yes. Angeline Butler says yes. Love the bus. All right. Yup, says Farah Palacio. Yes, says Kimberly Jackson. All right. So in saying that, I know people have an issue with public transportation, and yes, it can be improved. Rick Olson, Dawn Santucci Holdup says yes. Rick Olson says no, and Shikarina says yes to ferry. All right. I want to go back to the comment by Sean Smith. He says, take a look at reintroducing trains. I know you all's going to be like, Jamal, where they getting the money from? I know it's coming. I know. But we keep talking about Bermuda needs more people. The infrastructure has crumbled, from the incinerator to our roads. But I don't think a train system would be a bad idea. Here's another suggestion. If you don't do public transportation, something I said to Larry yesterday, why the government can't offer incentives to private companies, wait for it, private companies to offer their staff private shuttles. It does 9 parish pickups. Simple things, not, let me take that word simple back, because it's not simple. I'm not going to downplay and act like it's an easy task. But things like that are where we have to think beyond, right? And if we can get just 10 private companies with staff of 50 or more people to offer a shuttle service, we wouldn't even have to rely as much on public transportation. And again, I'm speaking of rush hour, folks.
Yeah. I spoke to, I can't remember exactly where I read about the traffic in Bermuda. It might have been in the Daily. And the comment was, Bermuda is one of the only cities where people are driving private vehicles into it for work. Everywhere else, they're catching trains, they're doing this because parking's so expensive. Public transportation is good enough, so they make it there. But almost everyone who works as a professional drives, or a large percentage drives into, or takes their own vehicle into the city of Hamilton. And the traffic needs to be reduced. And I think that example you gave is one way of doing it.
And yeah, I mean, again, I don't think I have all the answers. And folks, let me be very honest. I'm not well researched on this. These are just suggestions from the outside looking in. These are the suggestions that we can probably come up with just around the dinner table. And, when that MP comes knocking on your door, these are the things that we can bring up to them, right? This is why your legislators work for you. Let's go back to the audience. Angeline Butler says, park and ride. Kimberly Jackson says, I think we need to figure out school children transport. When school is out, traffic flows and tell me about it. Thank you, Kim. You all are reading my mind today. So, Kimberly, I was actually going to say, when I mentioned just now about government giving an incentive to private companies, doing the same with schools, right? Whereas, like, this is not funny, but when I go on my jog some mornings, I mean, these kids in the US, these children are literally walking to the bus stop so early. Like, I'm out there 6 a.m., it's dark, right? And they're walking to the bus stop. But the bus is stopping out there at, different spaces for them. To me, it may require privatization, honestly. And you know why people complain about privatization, right? With a private company, it's different. Go ahead. Sorry, Larry.
No, I agree. I think the school bus issue has been an issue for a long time, and it's not working. If we're being honest, it's not working. It creates, people don't have faith in the school bus system, which is why we have a large amount of people transporting their kids in private vehicles, which causes great, it clogs up the roads. We got people. I stay by Somersfield. Some people that live in Southampton, Warwick, they're coming all the way in a private vehicle, one by one, to come in, in that area, and it just creates traffic issues.
Mhm. Well, yeah. We've got Suzanne Ingham. She says the train we had before should have never been taken away. It cost £1 million per mile, and it was 26 miles. We could be using it today. Okay.
Okay.
Why?
We're interested to see the statistics.
It was around for 10 years in what, the 30s to the 40s or something like that, the train railway system, if I'm not mistaken. Why was it taken away? Traveling Trotty says in India, you can only drive into the city on certain days, depending on if your car license plate is even or odd. Interesting.
Yeah.
I know people are probably like, oh, that's too many rules and laws and da 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 da.
Or we can take a portion of it. We don't have to take the entire thing. We don't have as many people as India. So something within that we can probably use. You know what I mean? So I think that's why it's important to have the conversation so we can come up and take a bunch of things and tailor it for what we need in Bermuda.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I mean, India is the second most populated country in the world too, next to China, under China, I think.
Yeah.
Someone on Instagram, Keelan FR says, "Yeah, guys run the trains like we are in England." Yeah, I mean, you've got UK system, New York system. I'm not quite sure Bermuda needs all that. We just probably need two routes.
Yeah. And if we're honest, probably just a central something to get around the city of Hamilton. Like I'm not branching out far off. I don't even know if we need that, but to move around Hamilton, it shouldn't be that hard. And,
Yeah.
I'm in favor for a little train above the ground. We're not going to dig and anything. No, I don't see that happening. But above the ground system.
Yeah. Sean Smith says, let's not forget that public transportation included minibus in Texas. It does. And I was actually going to say, Sean, that, a lot of minibus companies, tour companies, during the school year when the cruises are not coming regularly, they're probably looking for additional revenue, right? So why can't we work with them to kind of help let them to do some shuttles for schools to reduce traffic, right? Maybe that's an option for them. Let's go through these final few comments and then we'll do the news break. And then we'll have Evan Faulkenberry coming on from the BAC group. It's Ask the Expert, folks. Remember last time you all went around BAC and you took all the stuff. Well, hopefully it worked out for you. Evan's going to help you today. So, you'll probably be rushing back around there after this conversation. Kia Renee BDA says, yeah, I have to question, is it required for everyone to have private cars? For such a small place, people can save money if private or public transport is used to commute to places.
I would use it, especially for work. Like I would not, if it was reliable and yeah, I would use it more if it worked better for me. But right now it doesn't.
So again, Teo and I spoke about this many years ago. We spoke about it again last week. Private cars for many people is a luxury, and we don't know that it's a luxury. That's the reality. We don't know that it's a luxury. In Bermuda, they're a luxury. They're a luxury. Sean Smith says develop Southside as the second major business hub might work. Well, I think the government said they were doing that in the run up to the 2017 election. Suzanne Ingham says it was taken away because of the introduction of cars. I'm going to say they made the causeway and bing, cars galore, and horse and buggies went bye. Well, blame Mr. Ford. Charles H. Jefferson II says in 1945, the railway carried 1.5 million passengers, but the cost associated with upkeep meant that it continually lost money.
And therein lies the problem.
Yeah. Well, yes or no? And I hate a question like this because this is like asking the population whether they agree with conscription or not, and the women in the population weren't impacted, but they have a vote, right? So this is an unfair question if you're answering and you're not impacted up in the West, right? But would you agree? Couple of yes or no questions. Would you agree to Harbor Road being one-way traffic during rush hour? Yes or no? Would you agree to that? Yes or no?
Right now, I'm gonna still say no, but I think I like some of these suggestions. I liked it. Well, maybe it's just a bike, or certain different things. So
Mhm,
initially, it was flat out no, but I'm interested in hearing more about it
mhm.
if that's something that the government will consider.
All right. Larry says no. Suzanne Ingham says yes, she would support Harbor Road being one-way traffic like Bermuda's HOV lane during rush hour. Charles H. Justice II says yes, he would also support it. What are your thoughts, audience? Yes or no? Misha Fabler says yes. Nicole Hassel says yes, yes, yes. Um, Again, I mean, I just think that was one suggestion. Also, I mean, encouraging private companies, yes, to have private shuttles. I think there are options that we can consider that don't require much.
I wanted to say something like this. Harbor Road one way should at least be studied, and it's like the same time that was said. I I said, you know what? Why don't we have a trial period and see how it goes?
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think that's something that definitely should be looked at.
Okay. Sherilyn Johnson says yes. Um, Sean DeShield says companies located in Hamilton can be incentivized to establish 3-day work week in offices and 2 days working remotely. I think there's a lot of collaboration that can happen with Hamilton. Mylan Simon says one-way traffic wouldn't help because it all merges to one space. I think Mylan, history and actual reality would prove you wrong. The way HOV lanes, traffic always merges. So I don't think that is actually would impact things much. I think the reason most times is because there's so many different outlets in traffic, meaning people letting people out and then the stoplights and Paget. It's just so many things. The merging of it is just one thing versus all these different things if we give the people these options. I take your point, but we see traffic merging literally daily in HOV lanes on a highway. Now, the response to that is probably, well, the margin lanes are probably much wider. Well, again, margin down at East Broadway or that road taking to Harbor Road, it's still wider option than just everyone being stuffed on Middle Road. So, all right, let's go through a few more comments. You all are on it today.
Yeah.
WKD Lama says no will create bottleneck at Crow Lane. Again, that's a concern. Traffic is backed up coming from west due to an accident at this moment, says Sherilyn Johnson. Nicole Hassel says I commute by ferry just to avoid. Harbor Road is the fastest route to the city. Shamari Talbot said we had a trial period for Harbor Road. All traffic backed up in Trimmingham Hill and Ice Cream. It was a nightmare. When was this trial period? Anybody
Yeah.
remember that? When was that? I don't remember Harbor Road ever being one way. I remember there was construction going on, but I don't think that was an actual trial period. Renee Simmons says road work during rush hours as long as it reverts back after a certain time. Yes. All right. Let's do the news break. I'll do the news break. And then don't forget, we've got Evan Faulkenberry from the BAC group for Ask the Expert today. So, folks, as Traveling Trotty says here, she says the Zip It from BAC is great. Yeah, that was Yolanda last time. Yolanda Hippolyte coming on and letting us know about the Zip It, folks. So let's do the news break, and then we'll bring on Evan after the commercial break. All right. Hey, I'm doing a news break, folks, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. So, if you saw earlier, the city is seeking public feedback for a proposed city improvement project. So, the city of Hamilton has plans to embark on a major city improvement project at the junction of Queen Street and Church Street and is seeking feedback through an upcoming public consultation. The proposed changes will improve the traffic flow and public safety, enhance the pedestrian experience, encourage city events, assist in deterring antisocial behavior, add visual appeal, and upgrade the overall experience of Hamilton. Quote, the traffic light system at the junction of Church Street and Queen Street is almost 4 decades old and needs to be replaced, explained city engineer Patrick Cooper. Our current system is dated and is unable to integrate with the new equipment being installed across the rest of the city to allow for smoother, safer, and smarter traffic flow. We don't want to simply put a band-aid on a significant problem, essentially kicking the can down the road. It's about being proactive with our aging infrastructure. The city plans to install a SCOOT system of traffic control at the junction. SCOOT, which stands for a split cycle or offset optimization technique, is currently used in over 350 towns and cities around the world and uses the data from the vehicle detectors to quickly adjust traffic signal settings to dramatically reduce vehicle delays and ensure road users' time is optimized. So that public consultation, folks, you want to make sure you're a part of it. It's going to be at Pier 6 from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Thursday, March 14th to learn about the project and provide feedback. Well, that's a Thursday. That's during people's workday. Could they not do this during an evening time?
I think you said 6. Oh, you said?
No, it's at Pier 6 from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, for more information, you can visit the www.cityofhamilton.bm. But public consultation, folks, honestly, if you can and if you care, get there. Get there, because too many times we have complaints or we use forums like this to air our concerns and then
we don't follow up. Yeah. And what I liked a bit about that is it referenced the 300 jurisdictions or cities rather and towns that use it, and you're able to you have that data to back up the reason why we're doing what we're doing. And I think sometimes that is needed to get the people on your side.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Well, in other news, turning to the police, a male motorcyclist has been hospitalized after a collision with a DPT bus. Around 9:20 a.m. Saturday, the 9th of March, 2024, a reported two-vehicle collision occurred on Harrington Sound Road in Hamilton Parish near the junction with Quarry Road. It appears that a collision involving a motorcyclist and a Department of Public Transportation bus in the Charcoal area resulted in the rider being temporarily trapped under the front of the bus while still on the motorcycle. The injured motorcyclist, understood to be a 29-year-old Pembroke man, remained conscious throughout as passengers from the bus assisted him until he could be extradited and transported to King Edward Memorial Hospital via ambulance for treatment. At last check, he remained hospitalized with injuries that were considered non-life-threatening. The bus driver and passengers were not hurt. However, both vehicles involved were damaged. Inquiries continue regarding the circumstances of this collision, and any witnesses are encouraged to call Constable Tyler Nelms on 211 or email tnelmes@bps.bn. So any information on any of those, please give them a call. All right. I don't have the weather report. So what I'm going to do is tell you all to, if you haven't been outside already, send someone on WhatsApp and ask them, how should you dress today?
It's windy and cool. The wind's coming out of the north. I know that because of how it hits my house. So which brings a bit cooler conditions. So wear your jacket and, prepare for the event. It's a little rainy also.
You got more from Larry than you would have ever gotten from me on the weather today, folks. So, hey, if it don't go your way, talk to your boy. What you got?
I applied to be a weather forecaster one time. Didn't get the job though.
Well, today will determine whether that was the right decision or not.
Yeah. All right. Today is, wait for it, International Fanny Pack Day. A handy accessory that keeps essentials within arm's reach, blending fashion and function for a hassle-free, on-the-go lifestyle.
It's a fanny
One of
pack.
those things. We used to call them pouches back.
Pouch, right? That's what I said. Yeah, we used to call them pouch.
And we only use them, packing groceries, and you put your money in your pouch. So
Do people still use them?
I see guys wearing them now, putting them across the chest this way, and it's not my thing, but
Yeah, men, us brothers, we need our backpack. We need somewhere to put our, combs for our beards and our brushes for our bowls. So no, I get it. Real quickly before we head to break and we bring in the question of the morning was, what would you do to reduce traffic and improve Bermuda's roads? Well, we do. This is why we love a live audience. We have Emily Gale says there is an accident near Greenaway Heights. So if you're up west, just have patience. That hopefully everyone is safe and there's not too much damage or injuries in that case. Mylan Simon says older kids can catch the more public bus regarding the suggestions this morning. Suzanne Ingham says it's nippy out there and windy. North Shore is freezing and blustery. All right, there is 1 point. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back after this with Evan Faulkenberry. Folks, BAC continues to help you out with Ask the Expert. Stick with us.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level.
All right, welcome back to the big show. Larry Marshall Jr. I am Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Please don't forget, subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Folks, unfortunately, I try not to unless I desperately need information, but I don't tend to look at my phone during the show. But we did get something sent in from Bermuda Police Service. Basically, there has been a road traffic collision involving the two trucks on Middle Road just east of Greenaway Lane, Southampton. As a result, traffic is being restricted to one lane. Traffic delays are expected as one of the vehicles is now immobile and will require a heavy tow truck to remove it. Thank you for your patience and cooperation while this matter is dealt with. So I always say when we have to share things like that is let's hope that employers are considerate and understanding and knowing what is going on Bermuda's roads this morning. All right. If you haven't already, make sure you give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share this conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Hey, let's make sure we engage as many people in our community as possible. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day. We have this segment of Ask the Expert, Evan Faulkenberry, joining us from the BAC Group of Companies. Let's give him a warm TDH welcome. Oops, not that one. There we go. Morning, Evan. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
We're good. We're good. Well, I don't want to prelude what you're going to say about your background or whatnot. But as I was reading about you, I noticed, tell me if I'm wrong, you're an engineer, right?
Correct. Mechanical engineer.
Okay. So since you have a better understanding of Larry and myself when it comes to engineering, what are your thoughts on Bermuda's roads? Trust me, this is nothing to do with what you're here to discuss. But since we were having that conversation this morning, just wanted to see if you had any thoughts from an engineering perspective.
Well, I'm not too sure the one-way on Harbor Road would work.
Okay,
but they definitely are in need of repair. Pageant lights, every time I drive past it, I'm constantly thinking, how do we fix this? You have two major lanes converging into one every morning. It's the same thing. And also leaving town, it's an issue. But
Okay.
there's further studies to be done there to really, narrow it down.
Fair enough. We heard from an expert, folks. We heard from an engineer. So it looks like him and Larry against me right now as it relates to common road things. So I just think, I think with this stuff, we need to consult. Like I said, I literally said earlier, my opinion's not based on any sort of research. So I don't want anyone in the audience be like, yeah, Jamal had a great idea. No, I had an idea. That's all it was. But I think we need to consult and we need to figure out with the experts, with people who work in this space, whether or not this is the best way for Bermuda going back. But that said, Evan, first off, thank you for joining us. We always have a great time with the BAC group for these conversations. Ask the expert. Just give the audience a bit of your background and just let them know what it is that you do.
Yeah, so mechanical engineer by trade. Started off New York City designing HVAC systems. Spent some time in the power generation space, and I'm back in the HVAC space. So anything from keeping people cool to reducing energy costs. It's essentially what I do. All
right. We're just getting your neck. Are you able to come up a bit?
Yeah, perfect.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely want to make sure people can see you. My father was an electrician. My uncles were into construction. And one of my biggest regrets is not learning enough to be able to not necessarily do it full time, but to actually be able to help myself, knowing the basics is one thing, but going through what you did to get to where you are, what's the most rewarding thing about your career?
I'd say, building successful projects, accomplishing things, understanding how things work, most importantly. When something breaks around the house, it's if I don't know it, I can look it up online, and everything makes sense when you read it. It's not a foreign language, so it's very rewarding, and it does pay back a lot.
Yeah, a friend of mine, he actually is into he does maintenance for people's houses, and he said, I shouldn't have a job, but people don't know how to do the bare basics. But let's get into how we can help people. Because one of the number one things in Bermuda that people complain about when it comes to the cost of living is their energy bills, right? I saw someone say that they overpaid the other day on Twitter saying, I paid $700 on my utility bill and still owe $50 for the next month. And this is an issue so many places.
Some interesting math.
Yeah. What are some things that contribute to high energy bills in Bermuda and usage?
Yeah. So, anything you plug into the wall, that's going to consume electricity. Things you don't plug in, like when you run your AC, your house generates heat. Heat comes from outside. The sun can transfer through your windows, walls, even people dissipate heat as well. So all of these things generate heat, and in the summer you're looking to remove it, which costs electricity. But also just lighting, computers, TV, anything really that you plug in will consume electricity.
Yeah. Real quickly, I just want to say this before you jump in, Larry. I turned my AC on for the first time this year. I live in South Florida. And I just had to yesterday because it was really hot. But anyone who knows me, if you ever stayed with me or anything, we don't use AC or heat. If it's too cold, you put clothes on. And, if it gets too hot, you go on the AC and get a little fan for yourself and you cool down. My point is, my electricity bill is $48 last month. And even my parents, they're like, how do you do that so low? I'm like, I don't use energy like that. I know what's going to contribute to it. Now, everyone does. Some people are like, well, that's so uncomfortable. I need to live comfortably. I need to be comfortable. But that's just me taking account. I don't want to pay a lot of money for my bill. I saw one bill of $100 late last year, and I was like, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing it. So I'm just saying, if any of you do come visit me,
it's going to be uncomfortable. I'm visiting before you guys.
Yeah, there you go.
Evan, I'm gonna put some pressure on you right now, right?
Yep.
Last time we had the expert, Miss Hippolyte gave a tip that had everyone run into these stores because it's really so helpful, right? So, with that being said, how can people reduce their energy usage without impacting their daily routines?
Well, the quick and easy one is lighting. Uh, Lights cost a lot of money depending on the type of bulbs you have. Historically, the standard was incandescent bulbs. To put that into perspective, incandescent bulbs are roughly 60 watts to 100 watts. If you want the same brightness out of a 60-watt incandescent with an LED, it's about 9 watts. So it uses about a sixth of the power consumption for the exact same brightness. So you're really not changing anything in terms of aesthetics around your house, but you are consuming a significant, less power than you would if you had an incandescent bulb.
Real quickly on the LED, just follow up on that, Larry, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I heard the term LED all the time, right? And
Yep.
when I order bulbs, I mean, I know the difference because my father's an electrician, but the layman probably wouldn't know that. How do people know whether they're getting LED? Like if they come around BAC today and do they just ask for LED? Is there certain lights they should look for certain units, like a lamp versus a ceiling unit?
Yeah, so typically it'll say it on the box, especially if it says equivalent to a 60 watt or 65 watt. That's a sign that it's an LED. But when you're looking at lighting, there's two main things you want to look for. It's the lumen and the temperature. Lumen is how bright it is. It's a measurement of the total amount of visible light. And temperature is, whether it's a warmer or a brighter. So the lower scale, the 2700 to 3000 Kelvin range, that's more like an incandescent bulb. Some describe it as serene or relaxed. The next step up would be, say, 3000 to 5000 Kelvin, which is a bit brighter, more focused lighting. It's probably more relatable to daytime lighting. And then you have the 5000 plus Kelvin, which is very bright. That's usually for factories or warehouses without windows. So those are the two things that you want to look for when selecting your light, because I have heard people say, oh, well, I don't like the look of LED lights. There's a chance you just didn't look at the temperature or the lumens. So you can get the equivalent of an incandescent through an LED if you select it correctly.
All right, and just to confirm, we want LEDs over incandescent lights, correct?
Correct. So let me put that into perspective, because everyone talks about savings, but what you really want to know is, well, how much will it save me? So if you take your standard incandescent bulb, you run it for 5 hours a day. There's one single bulb, 60 watt. It's going to cost you $5.25 a month. That same bulb, same brightness and color in an LED will cost you 79 cents. Now, I know these numbers don't sound large, but the average house, has about 30 bulbs. So extrapolate that out. Your incandescent 30 bulbs for 5 hours a day, it's going to cost you $157 versus $23 if you had the LEDs. So that alone right there, just by switching, is $133 savings.
Interesting.
Evan, I think you did pretty good there. I think you
Yeah,
guys may see an up. People are getting LED lights.
Yeah, and especially,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially if you have like dusk to dawn lights, outdoor lighting, the more you use the light, the more savings you get. So the same comparison incandescents to LEDs. If you run it from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., that's $377 for 30 bulbs versus $56 for LED. So when you talk about your payback period, the more you use the bulb, the faster you'll get paid back.
Excellent information. Excellent. All right. With that being said, what products or services does the BAC Group have available that can help people when saving their energy bills?
Well, another big offender of electricity consumption is water heaters. Most people forget they exist until they don't have hot water. But listing them in order of efficiency, you have your standard electric tank, which most people have. If you want to one-up that, you can put a timer on your electric heater. Next jump up in efficiency from there would be your instant hot water heater. And if you really want to save money, up to 60%, you'll go with the heat pump hot water heater.
Okay. And audience, if you have any questions for Evan, please send them through. Trying to check on Instagram, but if you have any comments or questions about anything, please send them through. Evan, so if I went to the BAC group today and I said, look, I need some LED lights. I'm having trouble with my Balco bill. What would you suggest for my bathroom versus my patio?
Well, your bathroom, you typically want a brighter light, especially if anyone's doing makeup in there. You want to see what you're doing. Those lights, you want to look for a brighter one. So look in the 5,000 plus Kelvin range, and lumens, 800 lumens will do. But if you want like 100 watt equivalent, you're looking more towards 1600 lumen bulb. So those are the two things you should really look at when selecting your bulb. There's a lot of references online that'll help you pick which brightness or color tone for certain rooms. A living room, you might want a bit more of a warmer feel, more comfortable feel, versus your bathroom or kitchen where, you want to be vibrant or focused.
It's interesting you mentioned water heaters because you're right. Like that's something we don't think about until we don't have hot water, right?
I turn mine off at the breaker. I have two, and once I leave the house, we turn them off and turn them back on.
Really?
Every day we try.
Yeah. So if you came by our showroom, we do sell hot water heaters, and you could automate that. So that way you're not there switching breakers every day.
See, hey, the problem solving right there. You don't have to hit the breaker, brother. You just go get some automation. All right, we've got some questions coming for you, Evan. Mark Arthur C. Phillips, he's asking, does BAC sell smart light bulbs?
Smart light bulbs? I'm not too sure about. I'm assuming you're talking ones that can connect to a home automation system, kind of like the Philips Hue bulbs. Yeah, no, we don't carry the Philips Hue bulbs. We might have a different brand that I'm not too sure.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not that technically savvy and understand.
I was interested in getting some at one point, and then I was like, it's just an extra cost for what?
Yeah, I have them at my house, and they are pretty good. They are a little pricey, but every time I go away, I'll pick one or two up, and over the last decade, it adds up.
All right, got quite a few questions. Let's get through these questions. Sean Smith says, do you sell solar power water heaters like in Europe?
Yes, we do.
Okay, BAC got them, folks. Nisha Fabler is asking, for LEDs, it's important to check if they're rated for enclosures. I bought the wrong kind and had several fail relatively quickly. What's that mean?
I'm assuming you mean they failed possibly due to heat. LED light bulbs are only rated up to a certain temperature. For example, your oven, microwave, dryer, those all come standard with incandescent or halogen bulbs. Don't put LEDs in there. They're not rated. They will save you money, obviously, but they're not rated for those environments. So they will fail due to heat.
All righty. We've got real quickly. Why should someone actually turn the water heater off? What's the benefits of turning it off?
So turning your water heater off, when you have a large temperature difference, there's more heat transfer. So it's kind of like pressure. Temperature is kind of a hard thing to visualize, but like pressure, you have high pressure, the water comes out faster. Same thing with the water heater. When it's hot in your water heater, the ambient temperature is lower, you're going to have heat transfer. So by turning it off, you're allowing the temperature inside your water heater to slowly decrease over time, which will slow down the rate of heat transfer out. So you won't lose energy as fast, and you're not paying to keep that water as hot as whatever your setting is, between 120, 140 Fahrenheit, when you're not using it.
All righty.
Okay.
We've got Suzanne Ingham. She's asking, can you explain the last water heater you mentioned, heat pump water heater? Yeah, can you go through the water heaters again?
Yeah, so standard electric tank water heater, which is what most people have in their house. Next one up is your instant hot water heater. So that's an electric water heater without a tank. It does require a significant amount of amperage. The total energy required to raise it to a certain temperature is the same, but because it's heating it instantaneously, you need a lot of amperage for that. So installing those, you might need some electrician work to get those up and running, but they do save energy because you're not losing any heat for storage. You're not storing any hot water. So it's just on demand, instantaneous when you need it.
And real quick, those ones, they're not as big as the standard ones, correct?
No, and that's another great plus about having those. You can install them under your cabinet. In my house, I had a hot water heater underneath the sink. It took up the whole space. I replaced it with an instant, and bang, now I have storage for all the cleaning products.
Alrighty.
Perfect.
Charles Justice is asking, what's the approximate cost of those different water heater options, and what are the cost savings associated?
Yeah, so your standard tank hot water heater, anywhere from 700 to low thousands, depending on your size and gallons. Your instant hot water heaters can range, in the under $1,000. The heat pump hot water heater, those are significantly more expensive, but like I mentioned before, it's roughly around a 60% savings. And to answer the previous question, what is a heat pump hot water heater? A heat pump hot water heater essentially has, think about an AC unit on top of it. Your outdoor unit, it blows the heat away. Your heat pump hot water heater, that part is inside the tank. So you're extracting heat from the ambient air, using that to heat the hot water, and then supplementing with electric heat if needed. And the nice thing about that is the byproduct is cool, dehumidified air. So if you install these heat pump hot water heaters in a basement or something, you're not only generating hot water at a lower cost, but you're also dehumidifying the space down there and keeping it cool.
Okay.
So
Excellent.
two birds, one stone.
Yeah, one final one from Anika De Shields, back to the electricity. Does using a surge protector help with reducing electricity caused by turning off, or should that also be unplugged?
For turning off, yeah, because you're cutting the electrical supply to it. While it's running, no.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Evan, how can people get in touch if they have more questions regarding anything you've covered this morning, the water heaters, the LED lights?
They can stop by our showroom or give us a call.
All right. Check them out, folks. We have Rashida Godwin. She says, I have a tankless water heater and it's fantastic. All right. So you got people who know what it's like.
Yeah. And if you're going to install the tankless water heater, make sure you put a pre-filter, because they have very small channels that the water runs through. So if you have any sort of sediment, that will clog your hot water heater.
Okay.
Man, there's some education this morning. Larry, I saw your pen, so you were taking notes for both of us, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, perfect. Evan, thank you so much. Honestly, appreciate the information, the conversation, and folks, don't blow up the phones. Take your time, one by one. Thank you so much, Emil. Until the next Ask the Expert, I guess we'll see someone else soon.
Perfect.
Have a great day.
Thanks for having me. You too.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Evan Faulkenberry, folks, if you appreciated today's conversation, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. My surge protector, I leave it plugged in. You take yours out, like you unplug yours?
No, I leave it in. But he says it's not really okay. I thought that it was okay if you left it in, but when it's running, it still has electricity. That's what you took from it?
I took it that it's plugged in and it still has because mine has everything plugged into it. I don't even turn it off. I don't turn it off.
Me neither.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll get clarification.
Yeah, we'll do better. We'll do better, folks. Don't go anywhere. We're going to come back. Someone's going to be eligible to win this week's prize if they get the answer correct after this break. So stick with us. Thanks again to Evan Faulkenberry. If you appreciate the conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share it with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Stick with us.
Hi there. Welcome to Medical House. We're located at number 6 Bakery Lane. I can't wait to show you all of the great stuff that we carry. Come on inside. Let's see. Let's kick it off in the footwear department. When it comes to footwear, we carry functional, comfortable, orthopedic, and waterproof shoes. We have construction shoes, golf shoes, shoes for walking, shoes for boating. We even have shoes for pickleball. We have shoes for everyone. With brands by Skechers, Atrax, Propay, Easy Street, Nursemates, Clogs, Avenger, Cherokee, Cat, Frog Talks, and DeWalt. The list goes on. Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. Long days, long shifts, you no longer have to endure comfortable underwear. Designed by nurses, we now offer premium undergarments by Swoop that are unique, fun, comfortable, and functional. The only underwear you'll ever want to wear. Who says high-quality functional products can be stylish and comfortable at the same time? Speaking of stylish, we also have top-quality running, walking, and workout apparel by Skechers in a variety of sizes for men and women. Cool, breathable, and dry. With our wide selection of Skechers footwear, you'll look great before, during, and after your workout. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
You'll be surprised at everything we have to offer at our huge new retail and wholesale location on Bakery Lane.
All right, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to Evan Faulkenberry and the BAC group for this segment of Ask the Expert. Hopefully everyone was able to take something from it. Folks, if you haven't already, it literally costs you nothing to just repost, like, love, share whatever platform you're on, just to make sure that, look, people are trying to reduce their Belco bills. There were solutions all through that conversation. Help somebody. You know, it's like in church when they say, hug your neighbor. Just help somebody. It costs you nothing to help somebody. So please share the conversation with your friends, family, colleagues. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can have these conversations with you on a regular basis. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, Larry, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right, here we go, audience. Can you hear my music? You hear it?
I started it, yeah. I mean, when it started.
All right, just want to make sure everybody can hear the music. Here's the question of the day. It's two-part. What state became the 50th to join the Union?
Hawaii.
Okay, you got the first one. In what year did Hawaii become the 50th state in the Union?
It had to be after World War II. It was Pearl Harbor. I want to say 1948, but that's after World War II.
They're Googling.
1926.
NTS said 1950s. I did say the year, not the decade. L Trot, you said 1959 after probably a Google. L Trot, you will be eligible. So two new people, Zane and L Trot, will be eligible for this week's prize.
So, okay. I would have been by because I brought up the World War II reference because of the Pearl Harbor bombing. So they weren't a state then? They was just
Yeah, they didn't.
an affiliate? Like,
Yeah.
what were they?
They're probably a territory, probably not. Well, I ain't gonna say what I want to say, but yeah, in 1959, Hawaii became the 50th state to join the Union.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Anika DeShields wants to be exact. She says the 21st of
Oh,
August.
that's Googling.
She took Google to a next level, or Chat GPT, you know.
Yeah, one do too.
All right, let's wrap up today's conversation. Obviously, we are talking about ways to reduce. We got stuck on Harbor Road. I also believe in asking, working with private entities and seeing if private companies can offer shuttle service to employees, parish pickups, stuff like that. But final thoughts on today's conversation.
Yeah, I think it's two excellent conversations that we needed to have, right? I think we all recognize that the flow of traffic and something needs to be done, whether it's talking about Harbor Road or different things in Hamilton or private entities getting involved. I just think we have to demand more from the powers that be instead of just complaining. We can start the conversation here, but again, are we ensuring that we are doing our part and holding people accountable? Because at the end of the day, the tax paying dollars are funding these things, so we have to do it. As far as energy and reducing your bills, Evan brought up some amazing things. I think it helps better. Once he brought up the lights, I immediately went back to when the government proposed lighting. I think what they didn't do is break it down as to how it's saved. And that's what I appreciate most about what Evan said. He said lighting's the biggest, and he gave us figures and percentages. And that's what I think was most helpful.
So what Larry's saying, in short, Walter Rabban shouldn't have just said, we're giving you free light bulb.
Yeah, it sounded hideous, but give us more information.
Yeah. No, I get you. In reference to the conversation on the roads, folks, I'm just throwing stuff out there. I don't know. I'm very honest with you. I don't consider myself an expert at anything. What I am is a person that loves to think.
Yeah.
I love to think critically. I love to think about things that don't yet exist. Sometimes they're crazy, they're stupid, they're silly. But they said the same thing about Steve Jobs. And no, I'm not saying I'm Steve Jobs. I'm just saying have the confidence and courage to think beyond what is normal to you. It may be the solution, not just for our country's problems, but for our own internal problems as individuals, right? Maybe one-way traffic during rush hour on Harbor Road is a bad idea. But out of discussing that bad idea may come a better solution.
Correct.
Who knows? What I do think we should do is what the Corporation of Hamilton is doing, is having public consultations on how we can help, because one problem leads to another. The amount of traffic creates accidents, the usage on our roads. We have to find a better way. And I believe through good conversation and education, we will find a better way. As far as Evan Faulkenberry and the BAC group, I am so grateful to be partners with this company and to discuss solutions for things that we are facing as a community. Let's be honest. You all may say I'm cheap. Maybe I am. But if I can save on electricity, I know I can be responsible for what I pay. There are things. Larry said he turns off his breaker. My breaker's right here. I don't mess with my breakers because I was so silly one time. I went on vacation and turned all my breakers off, came back, about the refrigerator. Yeah, I'm that person. So I'm always afraid to hit them. No, I'm going to be honest with you. That's the most Jamal thing ever. But my point is, there's something that all of us can do. We have to figure out what it is. BAC has some solutions from water heaters to LED lights. Check it out. Larry, you got some daily inspiration for us?
Yes, I do. And real quickly, what I appreciate most about these BAC conversations is they're not just coming here and trying to sell you stuff and get you to buy stuff. They're giving us the education or any reasoning behind it. And I appreciate that.
Indeed.
Today's daily inspiration is a Booker T. Washington quote. If you want to lift yourself up, lift up someone else.
Yeah, indeed. Very simple. Lift up others. Folks, please do not forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. He's Larry. Sorry, we won't be back tomorrow. We'll be back on Thursday. There is no live show tomorrow. We'll be back on Thursday. I will be in transit tomorrow. All right. So he's Larry Marshall Jr. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are is out. Peace.